You had mentioned prioritization, and you
Mhm.
also mentioned delegation earlier. And I know a lot of chiefs of staff, almost all chiefs of staff,
Mhm.
struggle with that and are trying to figure
Mhm.
out what is the best way. Maybe I heard Matt say he gives things to his team members when other critical issues come up that only he can do. But how do I make that decision? Or how do I decide if this has to be done right now or in the future? All of it seems important. You seem like you have a pretty methodical, thoughtful, proactive way of doing that. So I'm wondering, how does that decision
Mhm.
tree or how does that
Yeah, it's
approach
a good
work for
question.
you?
So it depends on what the task is. So I'll start on the service side, and then I'll talk about chief of staff responsibilities because it's a different kind of delegation. So on the service side, one of the things that I do is I try to make sure that there was two in a box, one primary, one backup for everything, wherever possible. So if one person is an expert on a particular application or service, have them cross train with someone else. Make sure that they understand the ins and outs, who they work with, because as we all know, people can be out of the office. What happens when they're out of the office? Somebody has to cover, right? So it's important that there's cross training established and have what I call is two in the box. Have one option and one backup, always. And that way they're always together in sync with one another in case someone is out or they get sick or they got to go to a doctor appointment, whatever. There's always someone there available because that it's just part of business. It happens every day, right? But on the other side, as a chief of staff, let's say we get a task for budget, we got a file that's due, we got a plan for the next year, we have a certain timeline that we need to get done. And so delegation in that case, what I typically do is I look at every one of the directs to my superior and look at their strengths and their areas where they're really good at. Like what are they very skilled, lots of experience on? How can I teach them or show them what I do and how they can lean in with their skills to kind of fill in for me? Okay. So, and maybe someone's good at hiring, and we have a lot of things in hiring space where I might need assistance in finding different candidates or something like that. I find the person that has a good rapport has shown through history that they're very good at finding talent. What are the tips and tricks that they have? How can I bring them along to help me to establish this goal? So it's all about assessing their skills and talents, and then me as the chief of staff investing in them. So it's a two-way street so we can help one another and obviously help the overall organization proceed forward. But to do that, though, takes time, takes energy to invest in those that are a part of the organization.